In modern Russia, if you oppose the war with Ukraine, you run the risk of being identified as a foreign national. You also now, under the ruling being encouraged by Vyacheslav Volodin, the Duma speaker, you run the risk of having your property confiscated and basically being stripped. Russians consider it possible to insult Russia, its residents, soldiers, officers, and openly support villains, Nazis, and murderers. The goal of such people, according to Volodin, is to serve themselves and to try to maintain their welfare abroad. Such statements can be seen as calls for extremism, rehabilitation of Nazism, or discrediting the armed forces. So he's getting in everything there, except for the gay agenda. It's the task of the investigation to establish the nature of the crime. As practice has shown, existing response measures are not enough. So according to Volodin, Russians who live comfortably abroad, thanks to our country, renting out real estate, continuing to receive royalties at the expense of Russian citizens, these people are going to be targeted. In this situation, it would be right to supplement the relevant articles of the Criminal Code with a clause on the confiscation of the scoundrels' property in the Russian Federation, of which they have enough to compensate for the damage caused. And so we can expect, almost certainly, a new law to attack people who disagree with the war in Russia, and to suppress the Russian people even more. Remember, this war is being fought on two fronts. First, there's the war in Ukraine, and then there's the propaganda war across Russia that I'm afraid I've been saying again and again we have not tackled, we have not tried to engage with, and it's a war that I think we could win very quickly, and it's one that we should win for the hearts and minds of the Russian people, completely deceived and completely waylaid by a barrage of propaganda that we have not seen really in any nation since the Second World War. And Russia has been priming its tools for years. Once again, I say, I know I was a victim of at least an early attempt of the sabotage of free speech and the sabotage of reality when I did interviews for Russian media. My voice was replaced by another voice, and I was made to say things that I had never said. It's quite extraordinary. I called attention to this. The episodes in question were taken down from the internet. They were still broadcast on terrestrial channels across Russia. No apology was made, no explanation was given at any point. And I eventually took the story to the BBC, and if you look up the BBC, I think it's called BBC Monitoring, you look up BBC Monitoring, Tim Wilson, and dubbing, you'll get the whole detail of the sordid story. If they can do this in peacetime over something which is not important, then they can certainly do far worse during a period of hostilities.